Tonight, severe temperatures lash the state with Port Lincoln sweltering through its hottest day. And an exclusive sneak peek into a Western thriller filmed in Broken Hill.
From our 7 Spencer Golf studios, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. Sweltering temperatures lashed the state today, with most regional centres reaching the mid to high 40s. Port Lincoln experienced its hottest day this summer, but good news is on the way, with a cool change expected this evening.
Today's searing heat is one for the record books.
It's the hottest day we've had like this whole holidays.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
In fact, today's temperature in Port Lincoln has smashed the maximum temperature record. It was back on the 21st of January 2006 that the highest temperature recorded was 46.1. But today it reached 48.3 at around 1:30 this afternoon, meaning the Port Lincoln pontoon was packed this morning for those seeking to beat the heat early. And the kids certainly had the right idea.
Coming down to the pontoon to have a swim, keep cool. It's always a ball here.
Maybe get an ice cream and keep cool.
Go swimming all day, yeah.
And keeping in the shade probably in the middle of the day. Yeah, sunscreen.
Yeah.
As for me, I decided to take on the kids' advice on how to keep cool. Some birds made the most of keeping cool in a shaded bird bath, while beachgoers took to the water in Port Augusta, where it almost reached 48 degrees. Meanwhile, in Whyalla, shops were handing out free water to ensure everyone kept hydrated. Fortunately, though, the cool change has already hit in many parts of the region, including the Eyre Peninsula.
Places like Whyalla and Port Augusta probably aren't going to see that change until later on this evening.
Casey Trelaw, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 24-year-old Port Augusta driver has pushed his driving abilities to the limit after he was caught with a blood alcohol reading, which was allegedly more than 7 times the legal limit. Police stopped the man at 5:30 on Wednesday evening, where he was tested, returning a reading of 0.345. The unlicensed driver had his car impounded for 28 days and will face court at a later date. The state government will spend $500,000 on a water project on the Eyre Peninsula. The Kulani Water Scheme will provide mains water to 22 farming properties in the region, reducing their reliance on carted water.
If last year's dry season taught us anything, it was that water is a precious resource for farmers, and a lack of it can bring their business to its knees. Ageing infrastructure on the EP has meant farmers are forced to cart water in at considerable cost when their own supplies dry up.
A very old 100-year-old main made of cast iron, and that pipe has reached its use-by date.
That's now set to change in a partnership between the Commonwealth, the state government and Franklin Harbour Council. 3.6 k's of cast iron pipe near Cow will be replaced with modern PVC piping, while 2 tanks holding a combined 300,000 litres will be constructed. 22 properties around the Franklin Harbour area will have access to the mains water
for their stock, for domestic purposes, so that they don't have to cart water in and so that they can actually turn the tap on.
Mr Whetstone says a $1.43 million project is an insurance policy for times when dams aren't being replenished by rain and relieve farmers of an extra cost when they're doing it tough.
Making sure that people do have what is an essential element of living, and that is to have water on their properties.
John Hunt, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Residents of Broken Hill should soon feel a lot safer, with the city receiving state government funding for security upgrades. Member for Barwon, Kevin Humphreys, says it's not so much about fighting crime as it is preventing it.
Eyes up above and all around. Today saw Mr Humphreys hand Broken Hill City Council a cheque for close to $160,000 to upgrade local security.
Part of the safety campaign that we've got running in New South Wales, we've been running it for some time, particularly in the regions, is to back councils, to back the business community and also the general public.
In conjunction with the City Council, a total of $320,000 will be spent on upgrading lighting and installing public CCTV cameras.
And one of the best ways that you can improve safety, we know, is by having better lighting in public space, parks, roadways, corners, alleys, around the business district, and also having the monitoring cameras, which the business community like.
The Mayor thrilled to be preventing crime.
The CCTV cameras, it's about making some lighting and making sure that the community feels safe when they're out and about, and that people are aware that whatever they do, that that it can be captured, and to reduce the impact of crime in our streets.
The funding is part of the $10 million New South Wales Community Safety Fund, which invests in innovative projects to reduce crime and antisocial behaviour.
Now, we're very lucky in Broken Hill, we don't have a lot of crime, so this goes hand in hand with lighting up our parks as well.
Locals can expect to see the cameras up in the coming months. Patrick Royenke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
And on the back of that security funding, Mr Humphries has also announced Broken Hill would be receiving $750,000 to further promote its heritage. The money is for the Australia's Heritage Perfectly Highlighted project. It aims to increase tourist visitation, create local jobs and help grow the Silver City economy.
Just as we have Vivid in Sydney, as some of the viewers would know, which has been highly successful, we're looking to create a lighting program here in the main street and main precinct of Broken Hill, which showcases the fantastic facades and some of the historic buildings we've got in the area.
The rollout of new lighting along Argent Street is expected to take 6 months. From the Hope Collective in Whyalla to the state's far north, Leslie Maxwell has dedicated her life to serving the community. Her tireless work has finally gained recognition, with Ms Maxwell the 2019 Whyalla Citizen of the Year.
For Leslie Maxwell, community service is close to her heart.
As a Jesus follower, I should show what Jesus did. So I should love people, I should be compassionate, I should show justice and mercy.
It's been recognised with Ms Maxwell named Whyalla's Citizen of the Year, nominated by her local pastor. She says she has numerous emotions.
Like proud and honoured, but I also feel like a bit surprised and shocked.
She served in the local Baptist church in several roles since joining at 16, including being its pastor, along with working at the Whyalla Community Garden. She's also led the congregation up to the Nipper Bummer community near Lee Creek for over 18 years.
At the invitation of the community, we go up there and we run church services, we do a kids club.
Ms Maxwell also volunteers her time with Hope Collective, an organisation looking to rejuvenate the western suburbs. But most of all, she remains a passionate Whyallarite, still proud to call the place home.
We came here when I was 4. And I just love it. I think it's got a great atmosphere.
Mayor Claire McLaughlin has praised her as a shining light in the community.
Above and beyond, in her own time, with her own finances, for the betterment of this community, it's a credit to her.
John Hunt, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Wilmington prepares for its annual Rodeo event, and a new micro distillery on the York Peninsula releases its first batch of gin. Welcome back. The Spencer Golf Football Club is seeking corporate sponsorship. For an undisclosed sum, a corporate contender will feature in a number of advertisement spaces across various clubs.
A corporate sponsor has a professional ring to it. Following by example set by the AFL, the Spencer Golf Football League are currently searching to team up with a corporate sponsor.
We're just looking at a corporate or naming rights sponsorship for our league. We've not done it in the past. It's something that we've thought about. Way to generate a little bit more income to the SGL.
A new corporate face will be added to signs in Port Oval on Mondera Road. The scoreboard at Port Augusta's Central Oval will also be lit up, along with the boundary signs at Central and ETSA ovals, and on the big screen at the $20+ million Memorial Oval.
Give the people with businesses the opportunity to put naming rights to the SGL.
In addition to the signage, the logo of the new corporate sponsor will be added to the league's members' clothing and will appear on other forms of premiership branding. The league hasn't disclosed how much money they are intending on asking for, but it's sure to pinch a pretty penny.
It's financial gain as well for the league, and we encourage them, as many people as we can, to respond to our request.
The logo will appear on the front page of the matchday budget every weekend and on the game day ball.
We have a panel on the football that's blank. We've deliberately left that blank so that we can put the club, or the company's logo on it.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The state government has waived a levy on students whose parents live here on certain visas. Adults who live in South Australia on a 457 or 482 visa pay a fee if their children attend a government school. It costs $5,300 per primary school student and $6,400 for a high school student. That's now been scrapped, provided the visa holder lives in country South Australia. In a statement, Education Minister John Gardner says it will hopefully encourage more immigrants to live outside the metro areas and fill critical jobs. Seven Spencer Golf has received exclusive vision of a movie yet to be released, which was partly filmed in Broken Hill. Locusts has been described as a suspense thriller and a modern western all rolled into one.
Coming soon to theatres.
A long journey, but we're pretty close to completion. We've got about another 2 or 3 months to go.
The Locusts film crew shot around Broken Hill for 2 weeks in July last year. While the picture is still in post-production, exclusive vision sent to 7 Spencer Golf News shows a quick glimpse of scenes shot around the area. The movie follows a tech entrepreneur who reluctantly returns to his hometown for his father's funeral.
It just tells the story of a city brother and a country brother who are reunited and basically get tangled up with some bad guys in a small country town and put in a compromising situation that they have to find their way out of.
The film's title is a metaphor for the human propensity to consume the world around us without fear of consequences.
You know, shooting around town there, shooting at Monday around the Pinnacles and really all in and around town was just a special experience, and in a way it felt a little bit like walking through a museum of Australian cinematic history.
Mr Watts says once the film is completed, it will go on the International Film Festival circuit. It's slated for release near the end of the year, and he hopes to have a special screening in the Silver City.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to sort of see it unfold, and I think people are going to enjoy it.
A trailer for Locusts will be released soon. Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Wilmington in the Flinders Ranges is preparing for its annual rodeo event with an expected influx of up to 2,000 visitors. As part of the national rodeo circuit, renowned riders from across Australia will compete this weekend.
Saddle up, locals, because one of the state's premier rodeo events is back into town. The 53rd Wilmington Night Rodeo is this Saturday, and organisers are expecting thousands of punters through the gates.
Excited, yeah. It's going to be a good night, good weather, and plenty of entries.
The rodeo will feature all the ringside favourites.
We've got the bull ride, saddle bronc, and we've got roping, team roping.
As well as barrel racing for the girls. Even the youngest bull riders will stake their claims to last the 8 seconds in the saddle.
So they're starting young to get on that professional circuit.
It's all part of the national rodeo circuit, with first prize in many of the categories exceeding $2,000. Riders travelling from all over Australia to get involved.
Some top riders come from Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria.
The proceeds of the event will then be distributed to various community groups. The Rodeo Club has given away over $200,000 in previous years.
All the people in the town and the districts, they come to work for us and we donate it back to the various clubs.
All the action will kick off at 7 p.m. on Australia Day. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A gin distillery south of Kadina on the Yorke Peninsula is already making its mark as a tourist stopover. The Sunny Hill Distillery is the area's first micro distillery and has just released its first batch to market.
Sam and Olivia Colliver are quenching the Yorke Peninsula's thirst for gin with their recently opened Sunny Hill Distillery. It's gone from a shared dream straight down the pipeline and into the bottle.
I had a career change and we had a young family, and yeah, we ended up back here on the farm and had an opportunity to give it a go, and it sort of snowballed from there, and here we are with everything finished.
Not so long ago, the Collivers went on a life-changing holiday overseas, which set the wheels in motion.
We did a trip to Scotland 3 years ago, and we toured a lot of distilleries over there, and we started having a joke that, oh, this would be cool to start our own distillery one day.
Now, back in Australia, they're sharing their acquired taste with the community, and people are taking to it like a duck to gin.
We've had a phenomenal amount of people come in, start off with all the locals, some that we haven't actually met, and they're like, oh, we're just 10 minutes down the road.
Visiting tourists, including some from overseas, have been coming in droves to the distillery, which overlooks the family farm. Their first line of gin has already sold out, but don't worry, there's plenty more to come. And it's no problem to make a batch when some of the key ingredients are grown on the farm.
We start our production with 100% raw wheat that's grown on our property.
Sunny Hill Distillery is open from Friday to Sunday. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll be providing all the latest fish and tips in the region. And how's that? Port Augusta businesses go head-to-head on the cricket field, all in the name of charity. Welcome back. Port Augusta cricketers are preparing to pull on their pads and their gloves, but not for your average match. The annual Pink Stumps Day will see sides from 2 of the town's biggest employers battle it out in a bid to raise funds for cancer research.
In its 3rd year, the Pink Stumps Day is now a staple on the local cricket calendar.
It's really a celebration of community cricket, community coming together to raise money for a very important cause.
West Augusta Cricket Club will host the match, which raises money for both the McGrath Foundation and prostate cancer research. They say a number of families within the club have been touched by the unforgiving disease.
This is something that's important to not just West Augusta, but also the Port Augusta community.
Staff from the Port Augusta Prison and the East-West Social Club for Pacific National will battle it out in a 2020 match. Players eager to claim bragging rights.
This is actually the 3rd time we get the Port Augusta Prison and the Pacific National Social Club together, and they both have won one game each, so this is the decider, I guess.
Players will take the field next Friday at Chinnery Park. The club will be cooking a barbecue and serving cold drinks to help raise funds, which in previous years has tipped over $2,000. And they're encouraging young and old to come along and wear plenty of pink.
Everyone come on down, support a great cause, have some fun, and let's get together as a community to raise some important funds.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And now let's take a look at what's biting around the region.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. Oh, I tell you what, this hot weather's absolutely killing us, isn't it? But the one good thing about it is bringing our blue swimmer crabs out in numbers. So if you venture out this weekend, crabs shouldn't be a problem. They'll be crawling up the anchor rope. So have a look on all your regular drops. You'll do pretty well. We've also found that we've had some flathead around the place from Port Broughton. So those flathead are actually breeding at the moment. So there is a few floating around the place. Garfish you can get if you want to go at night time dabbing. And yellowfin whiting, just chase along the shallows. You should do all right. If you're a boatie looking for them, perhaps have a look around the 1st, 2nd creek bank. You should be able to find a feed. That's all we've got this week. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, an absolute heat wave for the last week of the school holiday, so it's best to get up there as early as you can. Really nice crabs on those high tides out around the middle banks and also a little bit shallower. Silver whiting on the low tides out in the middle, but be aware of obviously the sun and that sort of thing. And if you do get a nice calm night, try for garfish out in the middle banks as well. There are a few snook around, some salmon up in the creeks. There are a couple of kingfish up around the powerhouse. And that's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
Hi, Whalers Fishing Report this week. The snapper action has heated up a little. Best areas have been certainly down south of Whyalla. Up in the shallow shoals have been the go. Just before sunrise has been the best spot, and also just after sundown. A few bigger snapper have also been caught. The local leet and tug on the swing of the tide, and also just a couple of fish coming in from around the demolition drop. A lot of the closer drops could be starting to hold fish. If the bigger fish are showing out deep, they should push in shallows pretty soon. For the sharks, there's been plenty of shark action throughout Whyalla. Some really good sized hammerhead sharks coming in, and some nice big bronzies. Again, before sunrise and after dark. Plenty of crabs throughout Whyalla, both north and south.
G'day, welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Lincoln. Starting up around Tumby Bay, there's been a few squid around the jetty and stuff. The Tommies and Garfish are down there too, so get down there with the kids and have a try. Out at the group there's been some whiting. They're a little bit patchy, but the guys up the north end of the group have been doing alright. There's been some good snook as well, and some snapper on the reefs and shoals down south between Lincoln and Spilsby. Around Port Lincoln itself, the guys out in the boats have been finding a few squid. They've been a little bit tough from the rocks and jetties. The mackerel, tommies, and garfish and salmon trout have been a better option from the land-based spots. Places like the Town Wharf, Town Jetty, Curtin Point Jetty and stuff have been doing really well in the afternoons. That's about it for this week. We'll see you again next week.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll take a look at the weather with Britt. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise. It's been another scorcher today with temperatures hitting the mid to late 40s across the board. 49 the top for Port Augusta, Whyalla 48 degrees, Port Lincoln 46, Broken Hill 45 and Port Pirie reaching 47 today. Looking to the skies, and an intense low pressure system is moving southeastwards below South Australia, with a trough extending north to bring us that much needed mild change. On the waters tomorrow, southwesterly winds at 15 to 20 knots, seas to 1.5 metres. Sunrise is due at 6:32 a.m. with sunset at 8:30 tomorrow night. And we've got lower maximums for most parts tomorrow. Broken Hill still right up there at 45 degrees, but a top of 37 for Port Augusta with fine conditions expected. Port Pirie and Corn also 37, Clare 35, a top of 33 at Kadina. Possible storms for both Cleve and Woodner, both looking at a top of 31, and a partly cloudy day for Whyalla. Moving ahead now to the 4-day forecast, fine days ahead for Port Lincoln with highs in the late 20s through the weekend, sunny and 28 on Monday. Cleve, the chance of a storm again on Saturday before a fine Sunday and a slightly warmer start to the week. Woodner with some possible showers on Saturday but fine Sunday and Monday. Evening thunderstorms for Whyalla across the weekend, looking fine on Monday. Port Augusta also with a chance of storms Saturday and Sunday, Monday partly cloudy. Kadina expecting a stormy Saturday but fine on Sunday. Storms expected at Port Pirie on the weekend with a top of 33 on Saturday. Thunder and lightning for Clare as well ahead of a sunny start to the week. And Broken Hill 41 on Saturday but down to a top of just 30 on Sunday. Louise, that's it for today's weather. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Thursday. We thank you for your company. We'll have updates again later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.